Hello and welcome back to Beef Sticks Podcast.
Yes, it is in a great American fest this week as we edge ever closer to America's Independence Day. Man, kind of hard to celebrate in 2020.
We are on the prefaces of celebrating what seems to be possibly the creation of the worst country in the history of what is known as, quote, the New World. It's, you know what, the way I look at it, I'm not celebrating Independence Day. I'm celebrating using pyrotechnics to destroy things.
There we go.
Which is exactly what July 4th, which that date literally has nothing to do with any of that also, but that's a whole other thing that I actually have on one of my Fantastic Fables that I don't do anymore, so whatever, look at it or don't, I don't give a shit.
It's still there, though, folks. You can go listen to it, and Pasty recommends that you do.
But, yeah, it's like, that's the way I looked at it. I'm like, you know what, I'm just celebrating just destroying random shit, because that's what this country is really about, just destroying random shit.
Yeah, it is. Fuck it up. Man. Did you hear about Sacha Baron Cohen invading the far-right rally?
I haven't heard about Sacha Baron Cohen? Cohen? I haven't heard about him.
Corbin.
It's probably 1999, my friend. Not since he did his Borat thing. Which,
I was going to say, I take it you're not a big fan of that.
Horrible. No. The thing with him and the fat dude getting gay was probably the best part. Yeah. And that's the weirdest thing to say.
Well, when you're that big, man, you fall on somebody, it's hard to move. I can tell you from experience.
That's the only part of the movie I remember.
Just think back to that storm last year at Galactic Get Down. You were in the same position.
True. Yeah, that's true. You're right, my friend.
I was trying to protect you from the lightning, boy.
So what did old
but
Sasha
you got the
Banks,
thunder!
what did old Sasha Not Banks do?
Oh, jeez. He invaded a far-right rally. What he did was he put up this huge donation to their cause from an anonymous source, and the source just requested that a band was allowed to headline their festival. Okay. And it was him and a band, and they come on, they're playing some lame bluegrass riff, and he starts singing this shit, and he gets the crowd to start singing along with him. And then he takes them on this journey about, like, Sleepy Joe Biden, what we gonna do? Chop him up like the Saudis do. And he'd have the whole crowd chanting that with him. And it goes on for like 20 minutes just to prove how easily it is to control, what they're going to say and speak out. And
to be fair, this is the same cat that made his name off of just making super racist movies demeaning other cultures, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
I just thought it was funny, and he brought in security that wasn't letting anybody get to the sound equipment to stop it from playing, and the crowd's still just going with him the whole time.
Right? Don't they want Joe Biden to die?
Yeah, I get it, but they don't want it broadcast to people outside of their event that's what they want. You know what I mean?
Well, too late. Trump's already done that. Too late, folks.
But he doesn't mean anything he says. Oh, boy. I got to stop this because this is bad. I'm sorry, guys. This is a wrestling podcast, and we're going to talk about wrestling things. But Sacha Baron Cohen did wrestle that fat guy, and so it's kind of relevant, right?
They sure wrestled. Sweaty and naked.
Woo. NXT? Okay, yeah. Let's go right into
between this world we live in, it's a war. But to be honest, it's all just a big fucking game, honestly.
Yeah. Yep.
So I guess that's as good of a segue as any into this week in pro wrestling history. Pasty, War Games, one of wrestling's most brutal matches, turns 33 today on this day, July 3rd. Also known as...
it's older than me.
Oh my gosh, it is older than you young fuck. Also known as the Match Beyond, War Games was created by Dusty Rhodes and inspired by Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. The two-ring, single-cage match was presented as the signature match for the Four Horsemen back in the day. If you don't already know the rules, let me just sit down and explain it to you. At least for the original one, this is how it goes. Just like any pro wrestling place, they changed them as per event to their own ways, but this was still the main rules, basically. Match begins with one member of each team in the cage. That's two people, one heel, one face, while the rest of the team waits backstage. After 5 minutes, the team that won the coin toss, ironically, it just always happened to be the heels, they're just really lucky, could send in a man immediately and have a one-man advantage. Yes, 2-on-1. The other team had to wait 2 minutes before sending in one of theirs. Teams alternate sending someone every 2 minutes until all participants in it is in the cage. So basically, whoever won the coin toss, i.e. the heels, would always have the one-man advantage for 2 minutes. Yes. The match cannot be won, though, unless everyone is in the cage. So you can fight and beat the hell out of everyone for as long as you want, but until everyone's in the cage, you cannot win the contest.
I want to see a War Games where everybody sits down and holds flowers, like just waits for everybody to get in the ring before they start fighting.
I don't think that would get a lot of buys.
Well, you get the buys beforehand, building up to it, and then that's just what you deliver to the people.
There you go.
Yeah.
The contest continued
Don't
until...
you understand how booking wrestling works?
Until a submission or surrender, and the person that submits loses the match for their entire team. So one person loses, the entire team is gone. There are no pinfalls, no countouts, no disqualifications, which made War Games the most dangerous match in wrestling at the time, within the cage in the 2 rings. In the first ever event, the Road Warriors, Nikita Koloff, Dusty Rhodes, and Paul Ellering, calling themselves the Superpowers, defeated the heel team of the 4 Horsemen, consisting of Ric Flair, Arn Anderson, Lex Luger, Tully Blanchard, and J.J. Dillon.
Damn.
You know, with all the old WCW names going around here and everything, I know we just had Fyter Fest. It's only a matter of time until AEW brings back another name. We're going to get to that later on, but what were your thoughts on the little bit of Fyter Fest that you got into?
I mean, it's good, man. It sucks that it's not a pay-per-view, sort of, and that it just takes up Dynamite time. But I dig it. I dig what you're doing. It was going to be a free show anyway. It was free last year. It's free. But I think the most standout actually lately in AEW at all overall to me has been Chris Jericho on commentary. It's such a breath of fresh air. Everybody seems to hit the notes and the strides better. JR doesn't seem, he covers for JR a lot. It's good stuff.
That's good. Well, I mean, that is good because, guy, you look at like a year ago and remember when they had Tony Khan's best friend, Alex Marvez, on comment.
Fuck, man.
Oh, I'm telling you, it was not good stuff. In fact, a good friend.
Imagine if it was still him and JR right now. I would have stopped watching a long time ago.
I'd at least watch it on mute. A good friend of yours and mine, Pasty, Eric Bischoff, he wasn't a big fan of Alex Marvez back on the old Double or Nothing pay-per-view either, from what I've been told.
Huh. Let's check that out.
Who's the play-by-play guy here? I never did catch his name.
Alex Marvez, your old pal.
Oh, he sucks.
Oh, man.
No, he sucked. He absolutely sucked. And I obviously I didn't know who it was, so I'm not just picking on him because he's a douchebag and a jock-sniffing piece of shit. No, he is. He's a douchebag, jock-sniffing piece of shit. But that's not why I'm saying this. I'm saying this just because he sucked before I knew he was a jock-sniffing piece of shit.
Oh, Lord.
Before I knew it was that one. He just was really, really horrible.
Damn.
I'm glad somebody finally said it.
Oh, jock-sniffing piece of... Wow, he really... Okay, folks, we're gonna just open it up here for you. We're gonna take a peek behind the curtain. We're gonna break kayfabe. So that was from an 83 weeks episode where Eric Bischoff and Conrad Thompson sat back and watched the first AEW Double or Nothing and responded on it. They put out a podcast on it and gave their opinions on it. Now, the funny thing is, that was Eric Bischoff's feelings on, quote, Alex Marvez. But the very next week, Conrad Thompson had a little clarification on the next week's show. Pasty, let's let's run that little. Boy, he really put his foot in his mouth there, Eric Bischoff.
All right.
Well, I wanted to ask, just take a run a timeout right now, because last week when we were covering the first AEW pay-per-view, Double or Nothing 2019, you went on and on about how much you loved Cody and Dustin, but most importantly, the Young Buck match and the Lucha Bros. But the thing that really stuck out to a lot of people is you went on an incredible tangent, murdering Alex Marvez, only to later realize, wait a minute, you meant Brian Alvarez.
I know. I feel so horrible about that. And I'm really glad you put a pin in that and brought that up here, because I want to personally apologize to Alex Marvez. I did immediately. And one of my followers on Twitter pointed it out to me. And the minute he did it, I went, oh my God. Now I'm going to Alex Marvez's play-by-play.
You didn't enjoy his work, but you weren't going to just fucking murder the guy.
No, because I don't know him.
Ooh.
Right. I've got nothing against him. I've never met the guy that I can recall. I may have even done an interview with him or two in the past. I don't know. But I absolutely feel like the world's biggest schmuck for unloading on a guy that didn't deserve it. So I apologize. If I ever get to meet Alex, I'll buy him a steak dinner. He doesn't even have to go with me. Probably hates my guts now, and I don't blame him. But I'll still buy him the damn dinner, and he can take a guest of his choice, and I'll still pay for it. So I apologize. I was a complete ass. I admit when I'm wrong, and I couldn't have been more wrong.
That's a way to be wrong. Holy shit.
Yeah, I'm sure he probably doesn't want to go out and have a steak dinner with him.
No.
Not after the verbal beat down that he just
Could you imagine that conversation? Like,
I would love to be there. I'd love to be the third wheel when those two got together after that. So tell me again, Eric, what did you think about my commentary? So
I'm glad they admitted they didn't like it. That's good.
Oh yeah. He didn't backtrack. He admits that the commentary was bad, but he didn't think personally him as a person was that shitty of a human being. Now, one thing that I think Pasty and I do a lot, and I think most of our fans enjoy, we always do callbacks and we bring things back. And obviously, they brought this up from the week before. It's good they brought it up. They could have just posted something on social media or something. I would have never seen it or heard about it because I don't pay that much attention to social media. So I got an understanding why he hated Alex Marvez so much, which I found out he didn't. But the very next week, Conrad didn't let him live it down. And you know what? This is going to be a reoccurring thing, I'm sure, going forward. But this is probably the last, unless something really fun happens going on, the last one we'll probably put on our old token JRR with Eric Bischoff as the stand-in guy. But basically, let him hear what happened the third week after this.
3 in 1 week. Man, y'all are lucky.
Meltzer would say perhaps the biggest change of all came due to an article in a local newspaper written by former Miami Herald reporter Alex Marvez, who had just recently started working in Dayton. Now, to be clear, Eric, this is not Brian Alvarez.
I know. I deserve that. Go ahead. Get a belly laugh out of that one at my expense. I still haven't met Alex Marvez. I'd like to apologize to him face to face. I was really, really out of line. I admit when I'm wrong. Someday that'll happen, I hope. But until then, so be it.
Jesus. Part of me has to wonder, though, did he really mean